Yo, 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 what is good, everyone? It is your boy, Lincoln Clay, the godfather of gaming, the ageless wonder, coming back with you. And we are live from Wakanda, and this is live from Wakanda number 8. You know what to do. Hit the bell icon, hit the like button. The rest will take care of itself. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Hope you're enjoying the content. Mr. Pyle, you are first. How are you doing this Sunday morning? Where you're at is probably Sunday afternoon. Same to you, Ice Queen Gaming. How are you? Glad you could join us this morning. And as you all know, Live from Wakanda is based on us talking about what happened the past week in gaming. And, so that's what I'm going to do. And so I just got up. What time? What we got? 7:30? I got up about 45 minutes ago. Had to give N4G a quick rundown because I haven't really, how do I say it? I haven't really been keeping up on the news this week like I should. You just got home from the gym. All right, Mr. Pyle. That is what's up. Speaking of which, Mr. Pyle, man, how big are you? I know over there, I know over in Europe, you guys use the metrics. But shit, I mean, based on your picture that I saw, you look like a dude that, depending on your height, if you look like one of those guys that's about 6'5", I'd have to imagine you look like you close to 300 pounds. So, yeah, I was curious about that, man. You are a pretty big dude, 6'4", 320 pounds. That's, ooh-wee. Man, you are humongous. You got me outweighed by 120 pounds. I'm 210 pounds. Good Lord. Watching the football today has my team playing today in the UK. Ooh. Mr. Pyle, 22-inch arms. That is insane. I think the biggest my arms have ever gotten, I think was like 17 and like 17 and 7/8 or some shit like that. Right now, shit, I haven't measured my arms in so long, and because of some of the size that I've lost over the last year and a half or something like that. Shit, I'd be surprised if my arms are 17 inches right now. Skyfall, you gonna go to CrossFit? So pray for you. All right. CrossFit's not my thing, but it's still good. It's still a good workout. I know that CrossFit shit definitely requires some endurance. So let's get into Live from Wakanda. Well, before we do, I do want to remind everybody. I assume that the PlayStation Plus podcast will take off at 9 o'clock, give or take. So I definitely want to make sure I'm out of the way by then. I don't really have a ton of stuff to talk about, so I am going to do my best to be out of the way by 9 o'clock. Before the PlayStation Plus podcast takes off. And I also want to remind everyone to tune in to the PlayStation Legion podcast with J-Tech. I'll be on there today. He sent me a list of topics that we'll talk about today on PlayStation Legion. So make sure you tune into that at 3 p.m. Eastern. And now we can get on with it. By the way, Mr. Pyle, thanks for the retweet. I appreciate it. I saw the notification there. So let's see here. Let's back up. So I think I had a midweek podcast. J-Tech is not bad as people say he is. I have no issues with him. No, he's not. And Mr. Pyle, no, J-Tech isn't. No, he's not a bad dude at all. People... when I first heard about him, people were calling him the crap gamer of PlayStation. But from what I'm seeing, he definitely loves PlayStation. And nothing wrong with that. And I don't think he's said anything toxic. I mean, he hasn't said anything that isn't true. So um you know, shoot, you know, now that I've gotten to know him, I'm honored to be friends with him. You know, he keeps in contact with me throughout the week. You know, sends me links, photos, memes, all that kind of stuff. You know, it keeps me in the loop on what's going to happen on the PlayStation Legion. So he's a pretty cool dude. Um, you know, and I've said that before, and I'll say it again. You know, the video I made of him, you know, about him mocking him a few months ago, that was made because you know he made reference of Titanfall's princess's assets, so to speak, because nobody can seem to talk to Titanfall princess more than 5 minutes without complimenting some of her features, if you know what I mean. So that's why I made the joking video. It wasn't anything directed towards him. It was more that he, you know, gave an interesting compliment of Titanfall's features. But no, he's a cool dude. And I like him. He's a pretty cool dude. You know, and then the other thing about that, you know, with me being cool with J-Tech, not just J-Tech, everybody. With me choosing to stay out of certain situations, it gives me the, you know, with me staying out of certain situations and staying cool with everybody, that to me, that can only do better for you. You know what I mean? Craig Harris, what is up? I don't plan to be on very long. I definitely want to be out of the way before the PlayStation Plus podcast takes off. So I don't want to be on here any more than an hour this morning. But you know where I'm going with this. If you'd like to pull up to the royal table and enjoy a royal breakfast and then talk about the latest gaming news this week, I will transmit the coordinates to you. Mr. Powell, you said, is this Mass Effect? And I'm a little bit surprised you're up this early in the morning, Mr. Harris. All right, stand by to receive coordinates. Copy, close, Twitter, and new leader of the Xbox community. All right, Mr. Harris, transmitting coordinates now. There you are, Mr. Harris. You have the coordinates. You know the proper flight pattern. And as usual, we wait to welcome you at Sector 21. We will see you when you arrive to Wakanda. You know, there is one thing I want to go back and touch on. You know, I think I did a midweek podcast, and you know, I think I talked a little bit about the rumored Scalebound. You know, the rumored canceled Scalebound, rumored to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. I think I touched on that a little bit. And just like that, we have a change in pressure within the dome. And my guards have alerted me that we have a visitor. Welcome, Mr. Harris. Please make yourself at home while my guards tend to your shuttle.
All right. Thank you.
So how you doing this Sunday morning?
I'm okay. I'm all right. Thanks for asking. So yeah, I was up early to grab some breakfast, and I saw you were live. I'm like, let me see if I can get on my shuttle and swing by for a little bit.
Definitely appreciate it. You know how it is. You're always welcome in Wakanda.
Oh
And
yeah.
I haven't taken down a lot of notes this week. So I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. So I think definitely one of the things I definitely want to talk about is a little bit more of me being introduced to the gaming PC world. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, how's it going?
wow, it's a whole new world, and this lot of unexplored territory, just a lot of
Uh-huh.
uncharted territory. But since you're here, where are we? Okay, let me see. One, two, three, four. I got about five subjects. So we'll just go ahead and pick up with the news as I got the notes. And so as you know, Anthem got a 61 Metacritic score
Oh,
this week, or were you aware of that?
I knew it started low, and yeah, there. I did not know it stayed that low though. However, I saw like the first the first 5 or 6 reviews, and it had come out. It was like a 63, and I'm like, oh no. So like that's
Uh,
all I said. I just thought maybe to get higher, but apparently it did not. It's unfortunate for them.
I don't know where it's sitting at now. I think this was like a couple of days ago when I saw that it was sitting on a 61. I know the Metacritic scores goes up and down, so I'm just basically touching on it at the time that I saw it, which was a 61. And what I really wanted to talk about is, what does the 61 Metacritic score mean for BioWare? What does it mean for EA? You probably heard some time ago that a lot of BioWare employees were pretty nervous that if Anthem underperformed, a lot of those guys, the jobs could be on the line. That BioWare could look very different if it's even around. Being that EA has a reputation for closing down studios, they also have a reputation for sending games out to die with the intentions of closing the studio so they can acquire their assets. Um, Also, I'm wondering if Anthem performs lower than expected, would EA possibly go the Microsoft route and only invest in games that they know will perform? And I'm speaking of the FIFAs, the Maddens, um, possibly the Battlefield series. Even though this one underperformed, I think it's still sold decently. And in the NHL hockey series, I'm wondering if if EA would go that route, because the only thing that's certain that comes from Microsoft is Gears, Halo, and Forza. Anything else that they've seemed to have really taken a chance on, really looks like an indie game. With Sea of Thieves, looks like an indie game. That's not my idea of taking a chance on a new IP.
Right.
So with that being said, what do you think of the Metacritic score, and what do you think that means for EA and BioWare moving forward?
I mean, as far as the Metacritic score, it's subjective. It's like anything. If you like those type of games, which are looter shooters, then you'll like that. I mean, to me, just play Destiny. That's what you're playing, and they're like, oh, it's not the same. It's like, that's BS. It's the same game. You're going around with some of your friends that you got your little headset on, and you're just shooting things. And what do they call them? Raids, or what are that? I don't know what they call them in Destiny, or in what we call them. I don't know, raids, or they're doing the same thing. There's nothing different. And all that happened was that when Bungie left Microsoft and did Destiny, Bungie cozied up to Sony with Destiny, as far as the content and things like that. Well, that pissed Microsoft off. So they went to another company, in this case, EA, and EA gave them their version of Destiny. That's all Anthem is. And and people are like, well, it's like this, and this. Dude, it is Destiny mixed with a little bit of Mass Effect Andromeda, mixed with a little bit of Monster Hunter. That's all it is. And I'm not saying it's fun or it's not fun, but so I don't. People are looking for different things, and even the media, if you put that in air quotes there, that score games, they they haven't accepted the fact that BioWare is not the same BioWare from that did Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age. It's not that BioWare anymore. And so they may have to be judged on a different score at this point. Somebody that's online who actually knows somebody at BioWare actually said that the BioWare they won't let EA won't let BioWare go. They're just going to fold the studios into doing. They'll just repurpose the studio, so they'll make they'll keep supporting Anthem because that's their goal. That was to support it anyway, but they'll shrink that team and they'll put those people somewhere else. So, and it just means that there will be no Dragon Age 4. I highly doubt, not unless that was part of Casey Hudson coming back. Finish this game with Anthem, start Dragon Age 4, which I certainly hope is true. But based on the way Anthem's performing, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. So, but they'll just repurpose the people at those studios. So,
which in my eyes could be a roundabout way of saying that the studio could be downsized, maybe a word to put it, but I saw a YouTube video a while ago from the developers of Project Cars, and I think the lead person over at that developer talked about how EA closed down one of the studios. They were with EA, and I can't remember the name of their studio, and I can't remember the game that they put out, but when they went into agreement with EA, it was pretty much stated that if the company closes, if the studio closes, EA would acquire their assets. But he had something put in the clause. He had a clause put in that if he were to open another studio, then he retains the rights to the assets. And so they had developed an engine that EA wanted. So when EA acquired the studio, EA pretty much sent their game out to die, and when it underperformed, EA closed them down with the intentions of acquiring their assets. But when they came back under the studio that they are called now, they were able to retain their assets because they had a specific engine that EA wanted, and he said he would never do business with EA again. So, and EA does have that reputation. Wouldn't you? With that being said, don't you think that that was a kind of a risky move, launching Anthem in February around the time that Metro is supposed to launch, around the time the Crackdown was supposed to launch? And if Sony had not moved Days Gone out until April, that would have been in there too, because that was supposed to launch in February. So you got 3 other games that's launching around the window that Anthem would have launched, which to me would have made February an absolute jungle. So with that being said, do you think that's something that EA took into consideration? Do you think that was part of a move that EA may have moved to try to send this game out to die so they can close BioWare down, or just what do you make of that?
No, I mean, I thought EA, I thought it launching this month was fine. Everybody thought that game was their makeup for Mass Effect Andromeda. Everybody was like, okay, the A team worked on this game. This is the game that they should have made. It's going to have a story, so forth and so on. Then you get your first warning shot of, well, it has a single player, but it's not very well developed. Then you hear it's got a single player, but there's no romances. So if you're a BioWare fan, that's why you played a lot of their games, was for the single player, and then your character would develop over time as an RPG. That's what the hardcore BioWare fans want. But it's EA, and with like any studio that's getting purchased, you get awash with cash. I mean, they throw so much cash at you. You're looking at your studio possibly, closing or struggling to get games out, and you may not know if you can keep the lights on, 3 months from now. And then Microsoft comes in and they give you all this money, or EA comes in this case, and gave them a lot of money. They gave BioWare a lot of money. They said, you can use all these new tools we have. We're developing these new engines, and yeah, at the end of the day, I thought it was a good month. And Metro is a niche game. It doesn't have a gigantic following. So, and neither does I think you mentioned Crackdown. Again, those games don't have big followings. That doesn't mean they can't be. I mean, Metro, I've heard, is a really, I've got it, and what I've played so far has been really good. So, plus I got to kill those 4K rats. So
I'll have to look into that sooner or later.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to BitCloud Gaming. What is going on, my man? I also want to congratulate BitCloud Gaming on surpassing 4,000 subs. Congratulations, my man. You earned it.
Yep.
Shout out. So everybody give a big shout out to BitCloud Gaming, formerly Ryan the Professional. What is going on, my man? Hope you're having a good morning.
Yeah. So yeah, it's unfortunate that this happened. I mean, and there were people that were so mad at the Mass Effect Andromeda game, they wanted Anthem to fail. I mean, they wanted Anthem to fail because they're like, no, this is because they felt slighted by what they did with Mass Effect. So people were just mad, and people have been mad. I mean, people have been mad at EA ever since even when they launched Mass Effect 3. I don't know if you can go back to that point in time. They actually had a story in Mass Effect 3 that EA made BioWare rip out of the game, of the core game, and made it DLC. And that's the year they got the worst Company of the Year award, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, and ever since then, I think that was whenever Mass Effect 3 launched, March, I don't know if that was 2010 or 2012, I can't really remember. But that March or May of that year, that's when BioWare that I know, that I love, died. That's the day it died. So, and it's this, I've accepted that. I mean, because they've released 2 horrible games. I mean, since then, and shout out to everybody and if you enjoy Anthem, if you like it, I love it for you. But in essence, it's just go by Destiny. Just go by, because you're playing.
Okay. So what about my I don't want to say theory, but me wondering that if Anthem underperforms, that EA could go the Microsoft route and not take any chances on new IPs anymore. That they might just stick to their bread and butter games, the FIFAs, the Maddens, that sort of thing. Do you think that could possibly happen if Anthem underperforms?
I think they'll just fold the studio. So they'll just repurpose the studio to go do something else. So because some of them are going to still support Anthem at least through the end of the year, because that's the plan. So they're going to keep doing that, and maybe it settles in and they get a I don't know, like Destiny did. Destiny's player count went up. It's at a decent point now. But at the end of the day, I just think they'll repurpose the studios and that just means they'll send people to other EA studios to go work. So that's what I think they're going to do. So I certainly I don't think they sit the game out there to die, because EA is the Anthem was the bigger title coming in. It had the bigger push. It had a huge media buy. It had a huge media buy. This week before it came out, there was a ton of Anthem commercials, whether you were watching YouTube or Hulu. It just, so, but it is what it is. I'm disappointed, but I'm not shocked that it's not doing well.
Yeah, definitely. I hear you. Samuel Ashby, good morning, and Uncompetitive, good morning. But don't you think that with Anthem being a new IP and as much money as EA probably spent marketing this game, don't you think it would probably be advantageous for them to release this game in a time window where nothing else is around?
But in a way they did. I mean, Metro and Crackdown aren't as big as they're just not. I mean, granted, Metro has been around longer than Anthem, but Anthem and it's EA. EA is one of the biggest publishing companies in the world for anything. They do a lot of games, but just publishing, doesn't matter if it's music or movies. It's just it's not a very, it's again, the problem that they're having, the game may be mechanically be fine, maybe really, as a matter of fact, it may be great. The problem is that you have an old set of BioWare fans who want their BioWare back. And they are online and they're just bitching about everything BioWare does until they do what they used to do. And then you have the newer BioWare fans who, yes, they grew up on the internet. And I really think a lot of this stuff is generational. They grew up on the internet and they think it's perfectly fine to release a game like that. And then have it again. I got my own reasons why I believe that. I'm doing my own podcast a little later on this afternoon. But at the end of the day, it's just you're seeing a generational gap. That's where gaming is right now. You have two different generations gaming. You have Gen Xers and Gen D gaming, and then you have millennials gaming. And millennials are gaming. They're looking at things totally different than Gen Xers do. So that's the reality. So did they send the game out there to die? No, they didn't do that. But most of BioWare's fans, most of their fan base is older. I mean, they've been playing games. BioWare's been around for what, 15 years? And a lot of these people that are playing games are in their early 20s. So it's just, they're barely as old as the studio. Whereas the other people have been like, well, I was there when they did Baldur's Gate or Jade Empire. Mm-hmm. You're still expecting that. You're still expecting that kind of a story, that kind of you want that story. You want the RPG elements, which this apparently does have that at least. But they want the progression. They want the carryover of the story like they got with Dragon Age and then Mass Effect. That's what they want. And it's unfortunate, like I said, but I truly think it's generational at this point. So you have a generation with a lot of money, that's Gen X and Gen D, and then you have a generation with no money, and that's millennials. Mm-hmm. So, and they're fighting over the market. At this point, they're actually fighting over the market at this point. So, and Generation X is winning, and the proof of that is the PlayStation, the success of the PlayStation 4. Mm-hmm. The failure of the Xbox based on what they thought was going to happen. Again, so I applaud Microsoft for taking the risk, but they were wrong. So the risk was to connect and always online all the time. That was the risk in 2013. Mm-hmm. It failed.
And so as we know, Microsoft doesn't take any risk anymore.
Yeah, well, no, this thing what they're doing with the cloud and all that kind of stuff, this is the next big risk for them. Because I
don't really think that's that big of a risk, because I'm led to believe that Microsoft was going to invest in the cloud anyway, and not just for gaming. So
yeah, business wise, that's what I'm saying. You're right. You're 100% right. Business wise, they're making good money with their cloud-based services. I mean, they're making great money. Now, will that translate into gaming? That's the risk. That's the risk. They are projecting it's going to. So, and they're investing heavily into the X Cloud and stuff like that. So I know that's kind of not what you were asking there, but at the end of the day, that's part of what's going on. I think is that they have a way they want to do things, and EA fits them. EA, Anthem, you can't just play offline. You can't just go start your game. You believe you got to be online. Mm-hmm. And that's something Microsoft's wanted, always be online. So
yeah, definitely. I guess why I was sort of on the subject of Microsoft, and that kind of plays into the next subject. If the rumors are to be believed, which has been a hot topic this week, it appears that Microsoft is getting this thing going in terms of becoming a third-party gaming company, third-party publisher, with the rumor of Game Pass coming to the Switch. Mm-hmm. And so I think what do you think that means for Microsoft? What do you think that means for the toxic fanboys? uh, with the Switch coming to, um, with Game Pass coming to the Switch, that's one more device that Microsoft is trying to get their services on, and that would be one more demographic who has no need to purchase the Xbox once Game Pass comes to their platform. What do you think that means moving forward? How do you think Nintendo people will benefit from this? How do you think the toxic fanboys are reacting to this?
I was gonna go into this I'll simply say I'll start with the fanboys first. That's over with. The people that had built and it's over with for two reasons. If it's true, let me caveat that. Next generation, the Xbox and the PlayStation are going to do the exact same things when it comes to multiplats. Okay? Well, I mean, there will be, so a lot of the fanboying is going to take a hit. Another group is going to take a hit is Digital Foundry, because there may be, there may be some slight differences here and there. You may have better shadow work on the Xbox, but then you may have a little bit better frame rate on the PlayStation on some multi-plat games. But overall, they're going to be able to get to 4K 60, whether they do it natively to a checkerboard, dynamic. You're going to see less dynamic resolutions next generation because you'll have enough CPU power to because the games are going back to being CPU based. So, but as far as the fanboys, that's over with. You're actually starting to see a slowdown on a lot of the fanboys channels. As far as the comments, the guys that were getting 650 comments are now only getting a third of that because people are just like, yeah, this is over and done with. As far as how it helps Nintendo gets the most help because one, it helps them with their online infrastructure, which apparently, according to Switch owners, is garbage. According to them, they don't like it. It helps Microsoft because it gives Microsoft the opportunity to get into Japan, something that they have never been able to penetrate. And the Switch is more popular in Japan than the PlayStation, so it gives them access to that market. And if they sign up for Live, it allows a natural migration from Switch to Xbox because you already have an Xbox Live account. Mm-hmm. So if they could get 30% of the people who are on Switch to just migrate into Xbox, that's them looking at the future. That's them taking a risk. But what Microsoft is getting is they're getting penetration into Japan, and they're also getting an ability to keep funding their games because now they can take like Randall Thor said, I want to give him credit. They can use that money to repurpose that money to give to keep supporting their studios to make games for them. So now at the fanboy stuff, Phil Spencer has kept his promise. He called the fanboys toxic, and they've ended all that by putting games on the Switch and possibly putting them Game Pass on PlayStation, which I believe they're going to do. It's just they got no choice. People can say, well, they're making money, but yeah, they're making money, but they can make more money. And then what's better than making money? Make more money. You know that. You got a cousin that loves to make more money, not just make money. So but at the end of the day, it's a good thing in a sense that it's to a point now where the Xbox community is rationalizing what's happening. It is the equivalent of waking up and McDonald's saying you now don't have to come here to go to get a Big Mac. You can go to Chick-fil-A. You can go to one of our competitors, Burger King. Mm-hmm. That's what they're saying. And again, they're rationalizing. because to them this is normal. They think, oh well, this is the way that they think this is the way the world is going to be. Sony's going to be left out because Microsoft and Nintendo are working together. And it's like, dude, that's like you getting married and then letting another man come into your house and have sex with your wife. But they've rationalized it because they rather Microsoft piggyback off something and keep their Xbox alive. Like Jesse Jackson used to say, keep hope alive. They'd rather have that happening than have Xbox or Microsoft come out and say, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. So, and a great point was made on, we was on the Scumcast yesterday. Shout out to the Scumcast. People pay more attention to what Phil Spencer says to gaming magazines and gaming journalists and things like that. They don't pay attention to what he's saying on Fox Business News and CNBC and when he talks to the Wall Street Journal and Forbes. That's when you're getting their Microsoft's long-term plans with the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I believe they're going to be putting first-party games on the Switch and the PlayStation. I thought it was funny. I don't know if you guys follow Mike Ybarra. He put out a thing about rumors yesterday. And I tweeted him back and said, the mere fact you didn't say this wasn't true is confirmation that it is. So, because if he can come out, and unless that was a hacked account, because I know somebody put up a fake Mike Ybarra account a few weeks ago. There was a great X that said X is not going to give it to you or something like that. That was a fake Mike Ybarra account.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, it's generational. I mean, just imagine tomorrow waking up in Chick-fil-A saying that you can go to Wendy's and get a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And then them saying, well, that's consumer friendly. And it's just like, are you kidding me? If you can either be consumer, you be about the consumer, but you live, I mean, you live in a market, in an open marketplace.
And the thing about it is, this attempt for Microsoft to get their services on all platforms. Can you imagine at the beginning of this, like right before the start of this generation, if somebody like Donnie D would have jumped up there and said that was the plan for Xbox, they would have, there would have been a lynch mob waiting for him.
Facts.
But I think, and that's one of the things that I think how Phil Spencer was in the right place at the right time, because he came along. I could have been Phil Spencer if I would have been the man they put in place right after they fired Donnie D. Anything that would have came out of, in my opinion, anything that would have came out of my mouth, they would have rallied behind it, especially if the stuff I was saying, if I was throwing mud at Sony. And I think that's how, in my opinion, I think that's how Microsoft got by this generation. I think despite what Phil Spencer said about toxic fanboys, I think he needed the toxic fanboys. I think he wanted the toxic fanboys because it seemed like, half of this generation, anything that came out of his mouth about the Xbox that was good, he could not say it without throwing some kind of dirt on Sony. He almost couldn't mention Xbox. Xbox could not come out of his mouth without Sony coming out of his mouth right behind it. And the toxic fanboys rallied behind that. And I think it was because of them, that a huge amount of support was given to the Xbox this generation. And so now I think that's what got them by, trying to throw dirt on the PlayStation name. And now I think they're going to try to continue to survive the rest of this generation by piggybacking, like you just said, off of the Switch and off of the PlayStation, which brings me to my next topic that I want to talk about. Zaire is the only person that I've seen with this headline, but according to him, Microsoft is looking to bring Game Pass to the PS4.
Yeah.
My thoughts on that is, I've got couple of things that I'm wondering about. One is, would Sony allow Game Pass to be on the PS5? We're nearing the end of the generation, so I think Game Pass coming to the PS4, I think it doesn't really affect anything on the PlayStation side. I think it definitely benefits Microsoft because it will give them a chance to tap into that 95, 96 million user base. But I'm curious if Sony would allow Game Pass to be on the PS5 at launch. So give me your thoughts on that about the rumor. If Microsoft is working to bring the Game Pass to the PS4, how do you think that would affect,
Well, I think Gaming Bolt reported the rumor. Let me caveat that again, that they're open to that. And I've always thought that this was their plan. They want Game Pass to be their version of the Epic Store and Steam for consoles. They just want it to be consoles, And then of course they will work on their Win 10. I mean, if you want your Win 10 store to get better, you need to offer Game Pass to everybody else, and including the PC. Because right now people were going back and forth with me a couple weeks ago. Nothing negative, but this guy thought that Game Pass was available on PC, and I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah, games. Is it Gaming Everywhere, whatever they call that? Xbox Everywhere, something like that. That's available. I can get subscribed to Gold and get discounts on games on the PC, but I can't get Game Pass. I cannot go to Win 10 store and play Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
To the Win 10 store, I can't do that. But as far as Game Pass going to PlayStation, yeah. I mean, I think look, you're right. And this is something that I said yesterday on Scumcast. Microsoft did not walk out there in 2013 and say, we're going to put games on all devices. This was never their plan. So this is a total defeat. This is total defeat, And and they were like, well, but they rationalized it and said, well, it's not 2013, and so shout out to Jay Fonz, because Jay Fonz made it very clear the reason why. I was like, what happened? And they were like, well, they're allowed to change. And finally, Jay Fonz, shout out to him, came on there and said they didn't sell enough consoles, therefore they have to put games out everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay, well, see, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
I wanted to respond to Guy Code real quick because he says I don't think Sony will allow it. They didn't allow Origins also, and I just want to give my opinion on that real quick. I think that Sony does not allow Origins on the PlayStation because the majority of the EA games sell on the PlayStation. So I don't know, maybe the 30% royalty that they get off of the Maddens, off of the FIFAs, probably gets them more money than what they would get off of Origin memberships. Also, I think that I think there is a good possibility that Sony would allow Game Pass to come to the PS4. We are nearing the end of the generation. I don't think we're in a situation where I think the amount of revenue that the PS4 is going to bring in is going to go down ever so slightly. I don't think it's going to go up because we're near the end of the generation. There's some people that's going to hold off buying stuff because of the looming PS5.
I agree.
When you look at it from the Microsoft standpoint, if they bring Game Pass to the PS4, that's definitely a revenue stream for them because they bring Game Pass to the PS4, and then there's a possible 96 million users out there. They put Game Pass on sale for $1 a month, $2, 2 months for $2 or something like that. And out of that 96 million PlayStation user base, 15 million jump up and take advantage of that promotion. So that's an extra $15-30 million here and there whenever Microsoft decides to put Game Pass on sale. So for Microsoft, that's definitely motivation for them to want to get that on the PS4. And then from Sony's standpoint, as much as I hate to admit it, it would probably make sense because they would get a cut out of that 15 million here and there from promos that they would do. Because let's face it, we're nearing the end of the generation. I think the only thing that might keep PS4 sales afloat this year is the heavy hitters that they got coming this year. I think if it weren't for those games coming out, I think there would be a noticeable decline in sales of the PS4. So I think, as much as I hate to admit it, Game Pass coming to the PS4 would make money for both Microsoft and Sony. Now, whether Sony lets it comes to the PS5 is another question.
Well, let's look at it another way. If it does come to the PlayStation family, I think PS4 is where they can just leave it because it keeps the PS4 relevant. You can now advertise because not everybody is going to want to run out and get a PS5. Okay, we have to be 100% funky on that one. Let's just be honest. We're not all going to go get the PS5. A lot of people are happy with their PS4 and their PS4 Pro. Shout out to like Porter Rock. Shout out to him. The like you call him, the king of common sense. There are way more PS4s out than that are sold. Been out 3 years, had a 3-year launch head start. Than there are pros. That's just reality. So, but if you can turn around and say Game Pass is available on the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, and it's just going to be first party games only from Microsoft. Because I keep seeing people saying, well, they're competing against PSN. It's like, not if they don't, not if Sony says if we'll allow this, but we only want access to the first party games that Microsoft has, and Microsoft says, well, we won't put all of them on there, but we'll throw some on there. So yeah, you're not going to get the multi-plat games like the Tomb Raiders and the stuff like that. But your first-party games that you have to have an Xbox for, we'll put on there. And those are the Gears, the Forzas, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's not like games by Ubisoft and and Rockstar.
No, but that's definitely. It would definitely help both parties, as much as I hate to admit it, because. Yeah. I'm sure there are a few people on the PlayStation side that probably wouldn't mind playing Halo or Gears or something like that, but don't want to buy an entire system to have to do it.
Yeah, and then not only that, Microsoft can even caveat it more and say, well, if we put Halo on and we put Gears on, we're only going to put, up to, say, Halo 4 on, and then the multiplayer can be crossplay. Mm-hmm. And then it's Sony, because you think about it, Sony, because they're moving on to a new generational console. Sony would be like, I'm sure they would sit down and think about that, because that to me is a good negotiation. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets something out of that, and then you get a taste, and then Sony gets a slice. To use my Grand Theft Auto Vice City lingo, they get a slice of the profit of Game Pass that's on their platform, and that keeps revenue coming to them. And look, Phil Spencer has gone out of his way to ingratiate himself to both Nintendo and to Sony. He's been doing that for the last 18 months. And yes, man, we have all been mocking him and all that kind of stuff, but he's doing that to save the Xbox, because they don't have a worldwide presence. Like Nintendo is worldwide, has been since the 80s. Sony has a worldwide presence, has been since the late 60s, 70s. They started making speakers, whenever they started making speakers, So, and at the end of the day, Microsoft is the one left out in the code. But what's amazing to me, just to look at it socially, is how their community is rationalizing what's happening to them. It's unbelievable just to see it in real time. I mean, imagine going to Walmart. You have Walmart and you have Costco. They're competitors. Mm-hmm. They have different stuff in their stores. They got a lot of the same stuff too. Imagine things that you can only buy at Walmart popping up in Costco. That's what's happening. And then the Walmart people rationalizing it. Instead of saying, look, we're putting stuff that was only available to us, we're putting it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that's an incredible, you know, you don't see basketball teams saying, well, you know what? The Golden State Warriors are not going to let you use DeMarcus Cousins if you play for the Phoenix Suns. Oh, you know what? We play Phoenix tonight. DeMarcus, why don't you go and play for Phoenix tonight? Because that's what the fans want. You know, they want to see what it would look like with you on the Phoenix Suns. That's what these cats are rationalizing.
You know, I think if the Golden State fanboys, if the Golden State fan base was as toxic as the Xbox fan base, I think Steve Kerr could get up there on a microphone and convince Golden State fans that DeMarcus Cousins playing for Phoenix for one night is beneficial to us because it could play a part in the seeding of the playoff picture. So it could help us get a higher seed in the playoffs, thus us having to play weaker competition in the first round. If they had a fan base toxic like the Microsoft fan box, Steve Kerr could pull something like that off.
Yeah,
because he is loved over in Golden State. And I have a lot of respect for Steve Kerr. And I do want to go back and answer a question from Mr. Pyle. He said, "What about the box itself?" The box is over, Mr. Pyle. With Microsoft having a goal of reaching 2 billion gamers, with that being the goal, then the goal is much, much bigger than the box itself. And from the console standpoint, Craig was right. It is imperative that they tap into that Nintendo and Sony user base. And I mean, I think with the next generation with the Xbox, I don't know what kind of consoles they plan on rolling out. I don't know for certain, but what I do believe is going to happen is they're going to manufacture enough consoles for the launch of whatever it is they're trying to do. And then after that, you're going to see these consoles manufactured on an as-needed basis. So I think you could see a situation where you walk into Walmart and you only see 1 or 2 Xboxes behind the glass. Or you might see a situation where if you want an Xbox, you might have to order it from Amazon or something like that, because there is not going to be a surplus of these consoles next generation, since the focus is on the service and not the hardware. So with that being said, yes, I think it is over for the box. The box is not the plan right now. It's not the plan. It's over. They just putting that out there. As far as I'm concerned, the box is just out there to keep the toxic fan base happy, just to give them a piece of plastic to hug.
Yeah, and there's a chance that I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I mean, and I don't. It's just this is one reason why once I saw this starting to happen, I was like, well, do I stay 100% to the consoles or do I get this PC going? And once I got, once my source came out and told me all this stuff that was going to possibly be happening, and because this is just the companies doing it, then I'm like, well, then if I want to play the games that I want to play, I'll just play them on PC. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's just reality for me now, But at the end of the day, it's just to see things happening in real time is amazing. I mean, even the transition from cassette tapes to CDs took years. I mean, like, it took years. I mean, at least the people that did the tapes, they tried to compete with CDs. I mean, they were putting out false information.
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind that when the CDs was first introduced to the public, it was a very expensive technology. A single disc CD player could run you as high as $400 or $500. Yeah. In the case of Microsoft, we're talking about a service where if Game Pass comes to the PlayStation and you have a PlayStation, even people that say fuck Microsoft and shit like that, if they turn on their PlayStation and they see that Game Pass app pop up, and below it there's an advertisement that says 30 days for $1, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to try it. So with that being said, boom, just like that, you got an extra 10, 15, $20 million out of nowhere. for service, just to get people to even take a look at it.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's just amazing to me. Just the way I mean, some of the stuff that's been said at this point.
I mean, Game Pass isn't crossing over, to the public as a new hardware that's going to be super expensive. I think that was the reason why it took the public so long to adapt to CD players, because it was expensive when it first came out.
Now, JP Loco asked a question. He said Xbox fanboys are trying to rationalize it as shout out to JP Loco, trying to rationalize it as but it's quote but Microsoft is making money. And he asked, why do you think they care about Microsoft's money? Because again, if it's making money, they're less likely to come out and say we're selling it, we're shutting it down. So whatever it takes to keep the doors open is what they're going to do. And that's what you're seeing, because this is the equivalent, if it's true, of, like I said, of McDonald's, who you have to go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac. You have to go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac. McDonald's saying that you can now go to Chick-fil-A or now go to Burger King. And then because their rationale is it's what's better for the consumer. And it's just like, well, that's better for the consumer, but they're not doing it because the Big Mac makes them relevant. It's just like you can't go to McDonald's and get a Whopper. But what they are rationalizing is that that's the future. That's what's that's the future with technology. Mm-hmm. That's why, yesterday on Scumcast, shout out to Scumcast, they were cracking jokes about OBJ the Don, saying that, you still use phone books to look up numbers, because to them, this is normal. And it's just like, no, this isn't normal. I mean, imagine being Lincoln Clay being coaches for the Detroit Lions, and right before we play the Packers, say, "Oh, here are all our plays. Let's go play." That's what they're doing.
Not a comparison, Craig, because the Lions are so goddamn stupid that I've even heard in the past with the Detroit Lions that teams were still in their signals. They were able to read the coach's lips. For the plays that he was calling out, former players were recognizing the signs that were going out on the field. So I think if it wasn't for the invention of the radio and the football helmet, the Lions' entire playbook would be out there. But I do want to further add to JP Loco about why do you care about Microsoft's money?
Yeah,
that's going to be the only thing that the toxic fanboys are going to have to brag about, because they're definitely not going to be able to brag about console sales, because we don't need Microsoft to lie to us and hide those numbers to know that the next generation of Xboxes are not going to sell very well with Microsoft not putting focus into this shit. I mean, look how much hype and shit like that Microsoft did for the Xbox One X. And it was a whole year away. You're not seeing that now. It's Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. So that tells you how important the next generation of consoles are to the to Xbox. Even though Sony has remained quiet, there is a ton of shit that keeps coming out a bit about the PS5. And there's no way you're gonna make me believe that Sony has nothing to do with these rumors coming out. They are letting some of these rumors out.
And they can shut them down, because the perfect thing was Mike Ybarra yesterday when he put up the whole thing about rumors and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, and I tweeted back. I put, wow, the fact that you're not just shutting it down is an admission that it's going to happen. I mean, when it's just, and look, a lot of people, I'm flabbergasted. I'm sorry. I guess that's the right word. I am flabbergasted by this. It's the equivalent of like I said, it's the equivalent of last year in the finals when Golden State had a 3-0 lead, and it's, imagine the Cleveland Cavaliers saying, "Well, LeBron James, you can go over there and play with Golden State," because that's what the fans want. That's what the fans want.
You know, when Phil Spencer, Sean Layden, and Reggie Fields walked out on that stage together.
Yeah. Back.
Phil Spencer had a smile on his face. You know what that smile said to me? That smile said to me that, deal with it, ponies. Game Pass is coming to the PlayStation platform, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, yeah, it might. And again, it doesn't mean it's not like you're going to turn on your PlayStation. It's going to brick because you don't put it on there.
Right, but you know how much resistance that was met when it was rumored that Microsoft was going to try to get the Game Pass over to the PlayStation platform. It was met with a lot of resistance, and but Phil kept on talking that shit. It's we are looking to get them on all platforms. And then when the three of them walked out on the stage together, it was pretty much, I took that as, I told you, I'm telling you guys, it's coming to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
That's the way I took that grin on his face.
Well, I just think it could be that. He did have he had a Chester the Cat grin. But but it could be that
he had the biggest grin on there, and he had the biggest reason to have that grin because you were because you are doing nothing to enhance the experience of your dedicated user base. And you might as well, like the way I saw it, Phil Spencer might as well have climbed on Sean Layden's back and came out that way to make the message much more clear.
Yeah, well, here's my whole take on this. Here's why I'll officially, and I've always thought that the console war was over since 2015. But I just think the Sony community has been looking for some type of symbolic victory. If you want a symbolic victory, go listen to Megaton. Go listen to that guy. He did an upload. He did an upload, like a 7-minute upload on Game Pass going to the Switch. Listen to that. And then go listen to him and that other guy's podcast, and just how he has accepted the fact that the Xbox, their core gamers, like Lincoln here was just talking about, they're no longer the priority. Just like we were talking about BioWare and things like that, the core BioWare fan that wants the story and the romances and stuff like that, and you build through your characters, that BioWare is gone. So, and this guy, you will hear acceptance in his voice. So is he sticking with the platform? Yes, because he likes the platform. But at the end of the day, even he has accepted it. The podcast I was on yesterday, they were rationalizing them putting games everywhere. I mean, it's over. So I love, Lincoln, your question there about the toxic fanboys. What's it going to do? Well, it's going to start shutting their channels down because there's nothing left for them to talk about except Microsoft's money, like you were mentioning. That's all they got.
Mm-hmm.
It all makes a lot of money. Well, Microsoft's always made a lot of money. It's just that's reality. They've been making money since they stole desktop publishing from Apple. They stole Windows from Apple. They stole MS-DOS. I mean, we could keep going. So, that's why they called those guys pirates, because they were going around raiding people's ideas. They just were. They didn't care. So, but at the end of the day, yes, they're one of the richest companies in the world. Like the one guy said yesterday, name a top 10 company that doesn't use cloud resources. Again, I'm not mocking him, but that's the rationale. That's this is the future of gaming. So it's just that's what they're on at this point. So I've always said, take a victory lap. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a podcast later today, and I'm going to pour a big old drink and celebrate it. But I'm going to point out, and it'll be after the PPP, which I hope Sick sets the PPP up through YouTube, because I can't use the other thing, Discord. I have no idea why I can't get on through the Discord. So hopefully, shout out to Sick Humor. You all, I know, will be checking that out. But if he uses the Discord, then yeah, I'll kick back and I'll listen, and I'll play some Metro on my PC. But
yeah, speaking of which, we've you know, give or take, Sick usually does the PlayStation podcast at about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I do want to wrap this up pretty soon, so I'm not overlapping him. But so going on to another subject, and again, Zaire is the only one that I've seen who's talked about this because I really haven't been keeping up with the news that much this week. But according to him, it is rumored that Xbox could reveal Anaconda and Lockhart at E3 this year. Now, what I want to say about that is that if this is true, that plays into my theory about the race for 2019, because I think that I think that if Anaconda and Lockhart are revealed at E3, I think that means there's a strong possibility that one of those consoles could launch in 2019 around the November time that I have been saying for the PlayStation 5, because I think those two are going to be breaking their necks to try to get out the blocks first. They have a history of it. They break each other's necks to try to get one up on each other with these console launches. With that also being said, I think if one of these consoles do launch in 2019, then that means Gears 5 is a launch game for the next generation of Xboxes. What do you think about that? About the possibility of Lockhart and Anaconda being revealed at E3?
That's fine. Look, the console war is over, and you know, people are. Look, as somebody who had to do a lot of research and ask a lot of questions, some may seem stupid on building the PC. What took me so long? Well, besides monetary, but the second thing that really took me so long was trying to determine, is there a huge difference in performance per price? That's why I went with AMD. So, but and I'm just going to give an example. This is nothing. All right. So if the new PlayStation is 11.7 T-flops, okay, PS5, and the Xbox Anaconda is 12.8, and I'm not here to say that it will be, that you will see zero difference in performance. Okay, it'll be so minute because all the games will be hitting 60 and above. Okay, and shout out to Jemiah Dixon, because like he said, once you get to over 60, it doesn't matter because it just doesn't. If somebody, you know, I can play games at 60 locked or at uncapped, and you know, I've played games at, you know, at 100. But you don't really see a huge difference in if you're driving a car like Project Cars 2. You've seen the testing. If it's going 120 frames per second, or if it's going 109 frames per second, you do not pick up on the drop because it's already going naturally faster than it should be. You know, so you're not going to see. So that takes away the toxicity of next generation, because the games are going to do the exact same things. You know, and so the only thing that somebody's going to be able to say is, well, look, the Xbox has 1.3 T-flops of more power. And again, guys, you all know by now that means very little. You know it, you know. So, and it's just you know, there's been people saying that Microsoft will have the better GPU, but Sony's going to have the better CPU. And then you got the same person coming out saying, you know, 3 days later, no, maybe it's going to be the opposite. You know, so
yeah. You know. I want to respond to a couple of people real quick. You know, I want to respond to Jay Fields, who said, "Do you think Microsoft had a hand in undermining Sega with their OS and Dreamcast?" I will say this though. I mean, I haven't really done any digging to find out just how much of that may be true, but I will say that on the outside looking in, as a person who was absolutely in love with the Dreamcast, something in my gut was blaming Microsoft before the original Xbox came out, because when Sega announced that they were shutting down, you know, hardware production and was only going to be focusing on software, and it was right around the time that we knew that the original Xbox was coming, And one of the things that they touted was that online gaming with supporting voice chat. People don't know that was already in the Dreamcast. There was already a form of voice chat in the Dreamcast. It just didn't work the way it does on the Xbox. There was a game, I said this before, there was a game called Alien Front Online for the Dreamcast where you plug a microphone into your controller, you press a button, and you record, like, say, a 5-second message. When you release the button, the message plays back to your teammates through their TVs. So the Dreamcast was way ahead of its time. I absolutely love that console, but I found it to be a coincidence that right when the Dreamcast was shutting down, that a new console was starting up and was taking what the Dreamcast did to the next level. Therefore, I've something in my gut blamed them. I fuck Microsoft. Who the fuck is Microsoft? What the fuck is this Xbox? That's the way I felt. I was like very upset, and I was like very reluctant to buy an Xbox for quite a while. It wasn't until like Sega officially shut down the servers that I finally got up and bought an Xbox, because that's when I had to face a grim reality that the Dreamcast was no more. That really hurt. I mean, that really, really hurt me. So with that being said, I think some of these Xbox people are going to experience that same feeling that I had once the Xbox is officially gone and they officially become a third party.
Yeah, and again, and shout out to Lionel Bogan because he did a super chat yesterday where it said that that's exactly what they'll be. Microsoft can be the greatest third party developer in history, and I wish them nothing but the best of luck. Like I said, I'm good on the PlayStation, and if Nintendo does a Donkey Kong game, I'll get a Switch. They still haven't released a new Donkey Kong game, so that's what I'm waiting on. I get my shout out to Donald J. Trump for getting my income taxes come in on Wednesday, according to them, according to the IRS. So shout out to Trump, and if that's true, I got my taxes done on the 19th, and they'll be coming back on the 27th, according to the IRS page. But so yeah, I mean, if they can announce a Donkey Kong game, I'll go get a Switch. If not, I'll be getting ready to play on the to play MLB The Show and the zombie game. But another zombie game. Days Gone. But it wouldn't. Nothing shocks me. I think Sega actually set an extremely high goal, and they just didn't hit it. Mm-hmm. That's what I think happened. And so and there was way more competition out. If I remember the Dreamcast, I think the PS1 I think was out. The maybe even the PS2, I can't really remember. You had the Neo Geo, that's what I had. You had that out. You had all kind of this. I remember walking into the video game store, and just on one wall you had Neo Geo games, another wall you had PlayStation. You had a Nintendo out. Was it like the 64? Or it was something. Some Nintendo was out. I don't know if it was the GameCube or the 64. So those, and then you had the Sega system. So and it is what it is. So
yeah. Also, I want to answer Giant Geico, who says 60 frames per second needs to finally be a standard for both linear and open world games. You really don't get any argument from me. I can tell you right now that that's one of the things. That's one of the first things that my son points out on the PC is that he notices a difference in frame rate. The 60 frames per second that I'm getting on the PC versus the 30 frames you would get on the console. He absolutely loves it. So you know what, and that brings us to my next subject, so to speak. A little bit of PC talk.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Wow, Craig. I was going through that Steam store, and I stumbled across something that made my jaw drop. I've heard this. I heard it come up a couple of times, but the note was actually there, made my jaw drop, and that was seeing Hellblade in VR.
Oh. Yeah,
Hellblade in VR is at the Steam store. I've never played this game, but I have been wanting to play this game. But because of all the great Sony exclusives that came out along with VR, I just couldn't make time to play a game like that. But now that it's in VR, I definitely have a reason to play this game. My jaw dropped, and I know that in the past there was actually some PlayStation VR fans who were disappointed when they didn't hear anything about Hellblade coming to the PSVR, because I know there was a slight rumbling about that the PlayStation VR community was wanting and hoping that Hellblade would come to PlayStation VR. So the first thing that hit my head was like, yeah, that'll never happen. You know, the PlayStation VR probably don't have enough power to run something like that. And then you got to go through the legal snafus now that Microsoft owns Ninja Theory. But to see that at Steam, that it is in VR, that made my jaw drop. Also, I've seen you play this game called Elite Dangerous. That also supports VR as well.
Correct.
That is also in VR. That made my jaw drop as well. Steam is going to kill me.
Well, you just have to wait for the sales. But yeah, people don't understand that. There's a group of people who, like, when Microsoft bought Ninja Theory, anything that went through, Ninja Theory can come up to them and say, well, we had this plan, and Microsoft can say no. So, you know, it's amazing. They let Hellblade go physical to PS4, but they kept the PS4 version of VR off. They're like, no, we're not going to give that to you. But it's like these people don't understand that. You know, they think, oh, well, because Microsoft it's Microsoft is the parent company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and every decision, yes, you know, just like with BioWare and EA, we talked about earlier. BioWare may have wanted to do a bunch of things in Anthem, but EA told them no. You know, so it's just it amazes me. But yeah, I've played Elite Dangerous in VR. It's like you played Eve.
You said you played Elite Dangerous in VR?
I've played that in VR. Yeah, a friend of mine got a VR.
Oh, what did he have?
He has the I think it was the Oculus.
Yeah, the Oculus Rift.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it was heavy.
So what did you think of it in VR?
It was similar to the Valkyrie game that I played. It was pretty much the exact same type of setup. A little more combat in Elite Dangerous than there is Valkyrie. But yeah, it was something else. It was something else. That's when I did the Oculus and I did the PlayStation VR. Oculus at the time had more immersion. And I'm like, oh, well, the PlayStation VR is a step down VR. So that's what I was used to. Then when I played the Valkyrie game in VR, when I streamed it, I was shocked. I mean, I could like look over my right and left shoulder and you could see space. It wasn't just like a blue screen, you know? So
no,
that's what I was anticipating with the PlayStation VR. Everything looking in front of you, fine. You know, up, down, left, right, but like that's when you know when I said, wow, I can't believe the level of immersion. That's when I was looking back over my head and you could see things going on behind you. So Oculus already was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that was me. I didn't know Sony had put that much into the VR. But the Elite Dangerous in VR, yeah, that's what people thought was going to happen with PSVR with Elite Dangerous. They thought, oh, well, can you all convert this? But you look very closely, Frontier, that's who makes Elite Dangerous. Guess who they have a marketing deal with? They have it with Microsoft.
I thought that's what you were going to say.
Yeah, they have it with Microsoft. So it is what it is. I'm not complaining about it. But it's cool. Yeah, when I play Elite Dangerous, people call it a spin. It's like they said I'm in a spin cycle. I'm like, no, you're in outer space, so you're going to do a lot of spinning. You know, trying to, because there is no, technically in outer space, there is no up and down. So you have to try to align things, to what you're looking at. But everything's moving. That's what I like about Elite Dangerous. It's not like you're just going to a sitting target. It's moving. So you're constantly having to adjust and land and take off and watch out for other ships. And, but that's me. It's fun. So, but I like it. Let me know if you hop on. I'll buy it on PC. And, that joystick, remember we were looking at joysticks that one day? online. That joystick that I want, it's in now.
Oh, speaking of which, there is a good number of flight games in VR on Steam.
Correct.
And I am led to believe I'm led to believe that flight stick will work on the PC, because I did find out that my Thrustmaster T150 racing wheel that has a PlayStation logo on it will work on PC. You just have to update the drivers. So that is going to be phenomenal for my PC experience to get games like Project Cars 2 in VR. Assetto Corso, that's another game this in VR on PC. There's a number of games, racing games that's in VR on the PC. With that being said, I would like to think that the same thing can be said about the Thrustmaster flight stick that I have, that it will work on the PC as well. And so that just blew the lid off of my VR world. I mean, wow, don't mistake this, people. I'm not turning my back on the PlayStation VR. It's starting to sound that way.
Yeah.
But I'm not. But I have to be honest and admit, I thought there was a ton of games at the PlayStation Store for VR, which there is, but it's minuscule compared to what's at the at Steam. And then they have a shit ton of games, free to play games, in Steam, whereas at the PlayStation Store, they don't really have full-blown free games. They have demos and they have experiences where you can, watch a plane fly by or something like that, but they don't really have full-blown free games at the PlayStation Store. There are full-blown free VR games at Steam. There's a ton of them. It's just so that just totally blew the lid open off on my VR experience. And my son appears to like Oculus better than the PlayStation VR. He definitely loves the PC. And I can pretty much tell you, I think, at some point I'm going to get my son a gaming PC.
Yeah.
And I think once I get him a gaming PC, that will conclude our affiliation with the Microsoft Xbox hardware.
Yeah, and it's what's hard about the PC is that once you start, it's not the graphics. It's partly the graphics, but it's the performance. So and when you get used to playing games, because I didn't think it was a huge deal, especially with RPGs and stuff like that. But once you start playing games at 60 frames a second or higher than 30, I'll just leave it at that, higher than 30, you don't want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want to. So, but that's me. That's what's happened to me, and that's why I've been gaming so hardcore over the last 2 weeks on the PC. I mean, because I was going to get Anthem, but then Anthem's got fake HDR, and then I went to Best Buy yesterday and found out something horrible about their HDR TV. So people that are looking to buy them, but there's going to be a lot of people getting ripped off. But but yeah, it's just that's for me. That's what's changed me, and I thought it would be hard. PC gaming, and it's just not as hard as I thought it would be. You simply download it, you open it, and then it asks you, do you want to create a shortcut to your desktop? Yes or no. And or you can just use the Steam store. You can go directly to the Steam store and just do it like that. And but every game I've downloaded is on my desktop on the screen. So you just double click it and it pops up, loads, and then it will be like you being in your PlayStation stores or your PlayStation option screen. Same screen pops up, but joystick X, X axis Y. I mean, you're going to do the exact same things, but when you go to graphics or display, when you go to display, you get a different thing output. Graphics, ambient occlusion, all that stuff. The graphics, that's where you start seeing your differences.
Please excuse me for laughing, because when you talk about the ambient occlusion and the display and that kind of stuff, yesterday I found the optimization settings for dummies.
Oh, okay.
because you know what, my computer has the GeForce 2070 RTX, you know,
Oh yeah,
for a
yeah.
graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to the NVIDIA website so I could update the drivers. And so there was like automatic download, just like click that. So I just hit that and it automatically updated the drivers. And it also put the NVIDIA site on there itself. You know, there's an icon on there. So games that are in my library, I go into the NVIDIA website, a GeForce website or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Games that are in my library, I can just highlight the game, hit details, and then right there's an optimize button. You click it and it'll optimize the game for you. And it'll tell you, it'll highlight what changes it made to the game, whether was changes in the shadows, the ambient occlusion, and all that kind of shit. You know, so it'll, you know, show me, it'll also show me like what the previous resolution was and now what the new resolution is now that you've optimized it. So I think I've optimized every single game except Gears of War 4 because the resolution was 2160p
Yeah.
On Gears of War, but when I optimized it, it took it down to 1440, and you know, and spread a lot of other shit out there. So
Yeah, that sounds right. It's optimization. So for you to get the best experience with your hardware is to run it for that game. For that game, you can put in a different game, Far Cry, something like that. It may take 2160, 60 frames a second.
But I was really shocked that, you know, some of the games that's on my PC, my son was playing these games at 1080p. And they looked really good. And then when I optimized them and brought them up to 4K, and then my son played them again, he said he saw the difference. You know that the games was the resolution, the picture was slightly sharper.
Yeah, as it should be. Yeah, when I saw Gears playing in 1080p, I'm on the PC, I'm like, it's 1080p, but man, it looks real clean. Well, that's because all the other stuff has been optimized. You know, so and that's just like, and that's why I literally said the other day to somebody in the Xbox community, I said, look, somebody, I think it was Zaire, said a few years ago, resolution is not graphics. Well, you can clearly see that when you go from one to the other. I've seen Gears playing with better graphics than it is on the Xbox. Xbox has better resolution. Okay, and all the resolution is doing is making the game brighter. That's it. And it looks sharper as well. But the graphics are just insane. I mean, like I said, the Assassin's Creed, that girl when she fights, at least the girl that I'm using, Cassandra, when she gets in the middle of the fight or when she gets done fighting, you can see her veins popping out of her because she just got done fighting. You know, and she's breathing heavier. You don't get that on the console. Little bitty things like that, and just that the graphics are picking up, and we don't. And again, I've played that game on the PS4, and I played it on the Xbox. You know, but it's just it is what it is. It's supposed to be different. I've said that before. It's not a down on console gaming because what console gaming is convenience. It's
the facts are there. You know, like Gears 4 is a great example. I have the Xbox One S in my bedroom, and I played Gears 4 on my Xbox One S, and then I see my son playing it on the PC, and there was a noticeable difference. I mean, on the Xbox One S, the colors look washed out. The edges looked blurry. And then I go see it on the PC, and the picture was just so sharp, and my son just couldn't get enough of talking about, you know, how he noticed the difference in the frame rate and how it ran so much smoother. But hey, the facts are the facts, you know. Hey,
it's different. I've really just tried to, because people have tweeted me, they've instant messaged me on what are some of the big differences, and it's just like. We're all adapted to resolution and we totally forgot about graphics. So I will take a game at 1440p with high settings, graphical settings. I make that clear. When you hear people say settings, they mean graphical settings. I'll take high graphical settings at 1440p at either an unlocked frame rate or above 30, then 4K 30 locked with low settings, because that's what we're getting on the consoles. And it's not that and again, for what the consoles are doing, it's really good. I mean, again, like I said, the best looking game I've seen this gen has been Horizon Zero Dawn. And the only thing that got close to that was me seeing Metro and Assassin's Creed.
Well, how much would you like for that to come to PC?
What's that?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh my God! I mean, it's already 1800p at 30 FPS. So yeah, the PCs could run it at 4K lock probably, even with a 5/8. I mean, because Sony's getting that with a what is it, a 380 or whatever it's in their thing. I don't know what it is, a 380 or a 420 or whatever it is.
Let me respond to a couple of people real quick. Mod Rozzy said, bro, I had all these experiences in 2006. You guys missed the boat. And he corrected me. He said it's called ambient occlusion, not ambient inclusion, as I called it. So thanks for the correction. I feel stupid now.
Okay.
And then we got the Destroyer saying, well, good luck playing The Last of Us 2 on PC Ultra settings. I know where you're going with that, Destroyer. Believe me, that the PS5 is a day one purchase for me. I am absolutely looking forward to the PS5, more so because of the next generation of VR that's going to be on the PS5. So believe me when I tell you, when the PS5 comes out, there's a pretty good chance the only platforms I will have is the PS5 and the PC. I will most certainly not have an Xbox the next generation. There's no reason for it.
Well, you got one. You've got one. It's got your PC is your Xbox.
Exactly. So
sounds crazy, but that's the way I look at it. People are like, you don't even play Xbox games. I'm like, I have an Xbox right here. It's called a PC. I can play the same games. I mean, maybe not all of them, but I have access to the same game. So it is what it is. And
Destroyer. This ain't PC Master Race talk. No,
it's not.
I'm just being brutally honest. A lot of the games, some of the games that we're talking about are third-party games, and it's just a cold hard fact that they do look better on. They do look noticeably better on the PC. I'm not trying to PC Master Race because I mean it sounds weird coming out of my mouth, but
well, it's not the resolution. Yes, I'm here to say, look, you can play games at higher resolutions on consoles, but I understand now when somebody the person that helped me with my PC, when he said, look, when you play a game at 1080p at high settings, it's going to look better than something at 4K medium settings. Something because the 4K is higher resolution. It's like, no, it's not. That's not how. And I said that to him, and I said, well, how does that even work? And he said it's like the Matrix. He said, remember what Morpheus told Neo? He said, I can tell you about it, but you have to see it. And again, he was right. He was right. And just like Morpheus was right with Neo. So at the end of the day, you guys, it's silly to it's hard to really to talk about it because there is a difference. I mean, just the graphical settings are things that are blurry on the PlayStation and on the Xbox stand out. And I'm looking at this Far Cry 5 footage, and I've seen Far Cry 5 on the Xbox. I've seen the same scene, and you don't see the earrings on the girls on the Xbox. You don't. You see them on the PC. So it's just that's just reality. People are like, well, what's the big deal? They're earrings. Well, if they're putting that much detail into that, what else are you guys missing? But I understand The Last of Us talk. He's right. Yeah, you can't play The Last of Us on PC.
Yeah, I get where he was coming from, and then and I get that, I get that where he comes from. I get that it sounded we like we talking PC talk here, but believe me, especially when it, so let me put it to you this way, the Destroyer. when it comes to exclusives, the PlayStation is my preferred platform. The PlayStation was my preferred platform, period. But I have to be honest that when it comes to third-party games, they look best on PC. Yeah. And then I want to shift over to JP Loco, who says apparently Microsoft doesn't give a damn about VR. Let's be realistic about that, JP Loco. Next generation, you want me to be brutally honest? Next generation, Microsoft knows that their consoles are not going to sell. And because they are focused on Game Pass and cloud-based gaming, they don't care that it's not going to sell. And being that those consoles are, and then with the next generation of console, I think the streaming console, this Xbox, diskless Xbox that's coming out, which is rumored to be the S without a disk drive, to me, based on what Microsoft has planned as far as hardware goes, this rumored Anaconda might be the only console that will probably be powerful enough to handle VR. But the thing isn't going to sell worth a fuck because everybody's going to be buying the PS5. So with that being said, it makes no sense for them to invest a shitload of money into a console that they know isn't going to sell, and they don't care that it's not going to sell. They are focused on the service and this cloud-based gaming. And I'd have to imagine that VR on a weak ass console, this actually a fire stick in disguise, that's absolutely not going to work. So it makes no sense for Microsoft to dip into VR. So they just, as far as I'm concerned, they might as well go ahead and let Sony have it.
Yeah, and if the rumors are true and they show it, I'm interested in Lockhart. I mean, I'm interested in and I've said this, I'm interested in the Google streaming device. I know they're going to unveil that next month at GDC. And that's when you're going to start getting what I would call 60% verifications on what both the Xbox and the PlayStation are going to have on it. You're going to get some hard verifications versus people uploading videos saying, here's what it might have, here's what it might have, here's what it should have. And that's why I tell people you need to wait till March. And the reason why I said wait till March is that's when GDC comes out. And the person that I've talked to, they've said, no, you have to wait till GDC. Wait till after GDC, which is fine. I mean, I didn't go, So it really, I'm interested in Lockhart. I don't know if because first Lockhart was a console. Then Lockhart was the name of the entire generation. So which one is it? Is it a console? Is it the name of the generation? And are there going to be 3 consoles? Is there just going to be one console, then one streaming device? I mean, that's what I'm waiting to see. And that's fine.
And my question is, and my thing is, regardless of whatever Anaconda and Lockhart is, but the rumor of it being revealed at E3, to me, it just ties into my theory that the race for 2019 is on. Even though I believe that Microsoft and Sony are going to be working with each other in the future, I think there is still a race between those two to get their consoles out the block first. Especially if Anaconda and the PS5 are going to be virtually identical. Microsoft could see it as imperative to get out of the blocks first, especially if they don't have any content to go along with this console, just like they did with the Xbox One X.
I agree.
I think it's going to be imperative for them to get out the block first. If they come out with a console that's identical to the PS5 in specs and performance in the PS5, we know there's going to be content for the PS5 when it comes out. How much of it remains to be seen, but we know that there's going to be content coming out for the PS5. People get their hands on the PS5 and then Anaconda comes out with nothing compelling. What's the reason for buying it? You'd be doing the Xbox One X shit all over again. Buying a console for third-party games that this time around are going to look no different than the competition.
I don't disagree. I mean, the thing is that like I said, the third-party games are going to look and run the same. There may be some differences in sound because I don't know if Dolby Atmos is going to be on the PS5 or not. I personally prefer the Skywalker sound that they have. I personally prefer that, especially through the headsets, whatever you want to call them. At the end of the day, it's just going to depend on what company is going to deliver the games that you want to play. And so, look, a lot of people are going to buy both. A lot of people are going to buy both. Mm-hmm. I just won't be one of those people. So
I'm willing to bet you that for those who plan to buy both the PS5 and Anaconda, I'm willing to bet you that the majority of those people are eyeballing the PS5 first because they believe there will be content available with the console when it launches.
Yeah. What do I think is going to be for PS5?
We know some of we know that some of Sony's first-party studios have been working on games for the PS5 for the last, the last couple of years. At least that's what we know about. So God knows how long they might have been working on these games in secret. And if these games are expected to be ready with the PS5, we don't know shit about, with Microsoft just now acquiring these studios last year. Mm-hmm. And to me, it was more of a PR move to save face with the angry Xbox people who were threatening to leave. What can we expect out of them when Anaconda launches?
Oh, well, I mean, the games that they were working on that were on they were on the chopping block. Either they weren't going to either they weren't going to be able to get them out the door, or they were going to have issues or delays because of money. They'll get those games out first. So, and that's what I expect first. And so we'll see then. But I certainly hope for the people in the Xbox community that they do unveil that stuff, and they can go ahead and start getting excited about it, because this generation went so bad that they are allegedly going to start putting games on other platforms. And again, they got them on PC. I understand PC is a platform too before they start damage controlling, but just the fact that if I had been at E3 in 2013 and tapped everybody on the shoulder and said, hey, in 5 or 6 years, they're going to be putting games on other people's platforms, like their competitors' platforms, people would have said I was crazy. But that's what's happening. I mean, it's nuts. So, but maybe we'll get confirmation of them putting games on the Nintendo system. I mean, if it's not true and they haven't pushed back by E3, they can just come out on stage and say, look, first things first, we are not going to put games on a Nintendo device. That's all they got to say, so it's crazy. So it's crazy.
I'll be ready to wrap this up in a second, but I see Jay Gotham posted in Twitter that he went over his data cap. He went 119 gigs over his data cap, and they're going to waive the first one because I guess they give you like a couple of mulligans where you if you go over they'll let you go. But after that, they're going to start charging him $10 for every 50 gigs that he goes over. For every 50 gigs that's added. But I've been knowing about that for a while because Gunroot Gaming told me about that because it happened to him a couple of times. And and I'm in the danger zone right now because since I've gotten that gaming PC, I have gone back and downloaded some games that truthfully I did not need. I went and bought Rainbow Six Siege because the deluxe edition was on sale for $12, and I bought it on both the PC and the PlayStation.
Damn.
What else did I buy? Well, then I went back and downloaded, Gears of War 4, even though we have it on the Xbox One X, my son's X, and my Xbox One S. We still went and downloaded it on the PC because that's going to be the best version. And then I'm trying to think what other games I got on there, but there was several games with huge files on there, 70 gigs, and then that's the other one. I downloaded what I guess was a Rainbow Six test server. I thought it was actually the game, but I guess it's some kind of test server, and that took up like 77 gigs.
Damn.
But yeah, I mean, but his point about his point in that tweet is about this cloud-based gaming. So you people really want this shit when you're gonna have to keep an eye on your data cap when people already using up enough of your shit anyway. With a lot of people not having cable, I understand DirecTV chews up a lot of your data cap too.
That is true. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, that's a very good point. Again, a lot of people don't know that.
So with that being said, I've said it before and I've said it again. I think with cloud-based gaming, all you're doing is putting unnecessary obligations on yourself. I feel like you will need to upgrade to a connection fast enough to have a stable experience. And then you have your data cap to worry about, and then you have no control over when your internet goes out due to storms or maintenance or what have you. So when you have no internet, you have no experience. So I will never get behind this cloud gaming. When we get to the point where there's absolutely no alternatives and cloud gaming is your only option, I will be done.
Yeah, and I don't think it ever reached that point. This is my opinion. I truly do think that it's just literally going to be for people that are real casual gamers, and they're saying, I mean, because it's just the way, I know we're about to wrap it up here. It's just the way the rationale has happened. It's gone from they'll never do that to they might do that, and then now it's well, if they do that, it's not going to be native. It's kind of like just a year ago you were ready to take people's heads off when they brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, damn, man, that's what kills me about them. It's just like, I mean, why don't you all just admit you're hypocrites? I mean, and be done with it. You can't say Metacritic scores don't matter, but then throw in the people's faces that Forza 4 was a 92 or whatever it was, a 94. Which again, I'm not here to say that it shouldn't have been. But you don't get to do that. And it's just like, and what's happening now is all that cash shit they talked is being thrown back in their faces, and they don't like it. They don't like it. It's to the point where, they just want to be left alone. They literally just want to be left alone because things did not go the way they thought. And that's why I've said to people, earlier, if you want a symbolic victory, Mr. Megaton has admitted that the Xbox is no longer the priority for Microsoft. And if you had said to yourself 3 months ago he would have done that, you would have lost money. If you would have bet, you'd have lost money.
Mm-hmm.
And now that if he is saying it, that's why I said to people, go to his video log, pull that video up. It's a 7-minute video, and just listen to it.
Yeah, definitely.
And be done. I gave people free smoke in his comment section. I would just blast him as nobody's Spartan guy. But it's over with. I got to let it go too. So yeah. I'm going to lead by example. That's why today at noon Eastern time, I'm going to have a succession of all activities when it comes to, we'll call out their bullshit, but as far as constantly going in on them, it's stupid too, because it's over. It is over. So, and like I said, him, and then I guess a Muscle Bound Gamer.
Oh boy, that dude again.
Yeah, two of the biggest Xbox that I can remember.
Muscle Bound Gamer is a fraud.
Possibly, but he has a video. He has 2 or 3 videos up saying why it's over.
But he went through this before. Last summer, he put out multiple videos crying about how he can't defend the Xbox anymore, how he's missing out on all these great PlayStation games, and then he's going to get a PlayStation so he can enjoy some of these these exclusives that he's missing out on. So he goes and gets a PlayStation. He does a review of The Last of Us, and I think he called it a mediocre game. What game over on the Xbox side is better than The Last of Us, even though that's a last-gen game and it was a remake?
Further on him, he actually was going to start covering other games, and then the Xbox community threatened to stop listening to his channel and unsub, and so he didn't do it.
Right, and shortly after he did that, the review of The Last of Us, I think he also did a review of Uncharted, which I think he also called that mediocre too, and then he went right back to praising Xbox. Yeah, but he doesn't do. I agree with you. No, you are 100% correct. That's over with now. He does not do that. If you listen to me, it's just a ploy to gain some PlayStation subscribers. He's going as far as he can with Xbox subscribers, You know, he's probably at that point where no matter what video he puts out, the same people are going to watch it. So he had to do something, you know, to draw in some more views, some more subscribers. So I think that's just a move to draw in some, you know, some more views from non-Xbox people, you know, mainly PlayStation people. But I promise you, like, you know, like for instance, when Xbox releases this diskless Xbox, he'll probably, you know, put up videos acting like, you know, like that's why Xbox is the leader and all this kind of shit. That dude is full of shit. And
well, I mean, you're right. You're right. Before we get too hard on it, you're right as far as his history. If you go by his latest history, he no longer talks about Xbox. He said he's done with them until they can show that they bring out games that he wants to play. He'll consider going back to them. But he called God of War the best game he almost never played. He's got a video up called God of War is the best game because he almost never played it. Because he was such a big Xbox guy.
Yeah,
and he would not have played it had he not made the change. Again, I'm not everything you said was right. He talked a lot of cash shit. You're right, but if that guy can come out and say, my point is that if people in the Xbox community can come out and say it's over, it's done. I'm talking about some of the major cats and a lot of the ire and angst and venom is thrown at, and some of the women too, though they have admitted it's done, it's over. Then maybe it's time for the people in the PlayStation community to just say, you know what? Yeah, if you have, again, McDonald's, if Microsoft is McDonald's, they may be putting their Big Mac at Burger King, and they're doing it because, like, and shout out to Red Dragon. Red Dragon asked a beautiful, simple question yesterday on Twitter. And it said, I'm going to quote it. Quote, would Xbox be putting games on other platforms if their system and games had sold as well, like they should have? Yes or no? And 90% of the people said they wouldn't have done it if they had sold better. This is total domination. Okay, and this is domination. This is why I said, well, they had to do something because they got tired of going to their door, getting kicked in the balls. Every day, somebody came to the door at the same time and kicked them in the balls, and eventually they quit answering the door. They got, so it's just. But I agree with what you said about what you call it. As far as the history, you are 1,000% correct. You have every right to be skeptical. I mean, you should be. But when people go on a record, the way those two guys have gone on record, and they have admitted it's over, then it's over. I mean, it's over. At that point, it's time to move on.
Now, look, I haven't watched his latest videos, but, he's right when he says it's over. But I didn't bother watching it. Like one of his videos I did watch. Yeah. He has all kinds of sad ass music, that was gonna make your eyes glaze up and shit like that, talking about it being over. But given what I saw last summer, as soon as something comes out of Microsoft, he's gonna be jumping right back over there.
It wouldn't shock me, but based on what he's saying, it's like, look, the one guy brings that up. The one guy, he brings that up about how he knows he said things in the past that he was going to start covering other systems, and he didn't do it. And now he's doing it, and he goes into why. And I've always said that if those two cats if one of those two cats can admit that it's over with, and that's then it's over. And finally, one of them did, and then another one did, then another one. Like Biggie Smalls used to say, "Here's another one." It's the same thing, And so it's just one after another. They're walking away. They're rationalizing putting stuff on different consoles. That's unbelievable. I mean, that's unbelievable. So when it reaches that point, it's over. It's time for people just to say Sony won. It's okay to say Sony won. Okay, it's okay, and you know, have the victory lap and be done with it. That's what I'm doing. I'm having my victory lap, and then I'm going to not, you know, if it comes up in discussion because somebody says something retarded, I'll bring it up. But it's just, you know, it's silly to keep harping on them because it's like beating a dead horse at this point.
So, I will definitely agree. So what is going on with Sick Humor? Is he holding the PlayStation Plus podcast today, or?
Oh yeah, that I don't know. If it's again, if he has it and we can get on through YouTube, I'm hopping on. But but if he does it through Discord, I won't. I'll listen. You know, I'll still be there. I'll be listening. I'll just be gaming.
You can stream through Discord.
Yeah, I can. You can download Discord. I was able to do it on my old PC and jump right on, but for some reason I'm doing something wrong with this PC. It's not letting me.
I have the app on my phone, but I haven't done anything with it. It's watch a shitload of notifications go through my phone because they use Discord just as much as they use Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it depends on how he sets it up. I mean, hopefully it's the end of the month and he sets it up through YouTube. And if not, it's not a big deal. I just will not be able to hop on. But I know a lot of people are up playing Anthem yesterday or last night, and just a lot of people were playing that. So, you know, just to have fun. And shout out to everybody that's enjoying it. So I certainly hope. I certainly a little bit. I mean, Lincoln, look, we had people in the Xbox community saying that we don't care about Metacritic scores. We just want to have fun. And, you know, it's like, okay, if that's the way things are going to be, that's fine. But
those are some of the same people that believe that X gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you.
Don't be saying that shit no more. You don't, like I said before, you don't get to pull your dick out on Monday and then be victim on Tuesday. You either are the victim or you're the perpetrator. And at this point, if you're going to stop perpetrating, then stop. You know, quit talking about it. I should not see anything about Xbox doing anything on my timeline because you're a bunch of effing losers. So I don't want to hear, and that's the way I treat them. That's why I said yesterday, or not yesterday on RGT. I will treat you like the loser that you are. You don't get to say anything anymore. You speak when you're spoken to. You know? And that's the way this is going to be. You know, so you know, like one of them said on Twitter, yes, we don't have any more ammunition left. Just leave us alone. You know.
So what are you going to do when we get through with this? When we get done with this stream, I'll be ready to wrap it up here in a couple of minutes. But what are you going to do next? I mean, I guess what I'm trying to ask you is if you're going to do any kind of gaming today.
Oh yeah. I'm going to go grab something to eat, and I'll be gaming. It'll be on PC.
Same here.
I gotta figure out how to stream from my PC to Twitch.
I'm trying to figure out how to do it from my to YouTube, but I did see that with the with this GeForce NVIDIA website or whatever, these games, they do have a broadcast button on there.
Yeah, I hit it too slow. Like I'm supposed to be able to do it with one button from my keyboard, and I don't know which keyboard it is. And it says to broadcast, do this, and I keep on not doing it. So I got to
I definitely want to learn to. I definitely want to stream. I definitely want to learn to stream using OBS and that kind of stuff because I definitely want to stream some of these VR games and just open up that world and just do some more VR streams with Oculus. Speaking of which, that is my plan. After I get through with this stream, I'm going to go get some breakfast, and then I'm going to come back and play Zero Caliber. It is a first-person shooter on the Oculus. It looks amazing to me. I absolutely cannot wait to try it.
Did you do an unboxing of Oculus? I saw your video where you purchased it.
No, I didn't do an unboxing because my apartment was like still torn up from like from me doing laundry because of how tired I am. Was like I came home did laundry, threw the shit on the couch, and was like, I'll get to it, and folded up. Next thing you know, I was out. The box that from me purchasing the PC and foam and shit like that was still all over the floor because I was still, getting acclimated with that and that kind of shit. So no, it wasn't an ideal situation for me to do an unboxing. Hey, but they got the message. Seeing that video of me making a purchase from Best Buy, I think that, that got the message across. But the next device I buy, I do plan on doing an unboxing. Unboxing videos. Truth be told, unboxing videos. One of the things about an unboxing video, I only watch it for about 2 seconds. If it's something that I have not seen before, then I watch an unboxing video. But if it's something that I've seen before, I'm only going to watch the video for about 2 seconds. So Oculus has been around long enough that I don't see, I wouldn't see a lot of people being interested in me doing an unboxing video. I thought me actually walking into Best Buy and showing people that I made the actual purchase instead of saying I'm going to do this, I thought that'd be a little more cool to do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's always going around. Yeah, I may do I don't know if I record how to friggin' do that because I'm just looking at getting another TV, but then I'm looking at monitors too. So I'm trying to find. Shout out to Carlos Fernandez. I'm trying to find a monitor, this 1440p, but I don't know if it can be 75 refresh hertz. With my PC, with my PC graphics that I have, or graphics with my setup, or if I should go ahead and just try to find one that's 144 hertz. So
yeah, I've seen that. Those 1440 monitors, 1440p, 144 hertz. I've seen those things run like $300-400. Boy, that is a lot of dough.
Yeah, it is. So, or just get a TV that just does I game off of, and I put my bigger TV back in the bedroom because the TLC 4K TLC at Best Buy is HDR, all that kind of stuff, and it's $379. So I may end up buying that. So maybe or the 1440p monitor 75 hertz. But I got to figure out which. How that's going to work.
Yeah, I got you. All day is good. What is up? Feta Mephisto, what is good? Modrazzi, what is good?
Oh, what's up, gentlemen?
Robert Evans, what is good? I saw your comment earlier about the car accident. Sorry to hear that. I heard it. I hope everything's good.
Yeah, if somebody had a car wreck, absolutely. You're definitely in our thoughts and prayers this morning. And I hope you and your family are okay.
Definitely. So I think with that being said, I'm ready to wrap this up because I am ready to jump on this PC and do some gaming. So with that being said, I will have my guards prepare your shuttle, and if you want to shout yourself out, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, it's great hair. So shout out to everybody that came, and shout out to Lincoln for doing this podcast early in the morning. This is a tea and crumpets and coffee podcast. Welcome to Wakanda. Just trying to grow it. And we're thinking about a PC podcast for noobs. Nothing extravagant. It's maybe like a half hour, 45-minute podcast for people that are on console and thinking about making the jump. How to shop for parts and things like that. Just something basic, nothing overbearing or you need to do this or else, But shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out this week to everybody that came by my podcast. Sick Humor, thanks for coming on the other day. King Thrash, big shout out to you two brothers. Shout out to Ash and Luca and Scumcast for once again having me on there. Jay Fonz coming on there. Porter Rock. 60 frames no lag. Next Gen jumped on there. Shout out to Next Gen 720 and P Rock. So yeah, keep it gaming, guys. Keep it gaming.
Before you take off, Craig, real quick before you take off, Craig, this podcast you're gonna have, about this PC for Noobs podcast. When are you gonna do that?
When it'll be starting in March. It may be something I'm gonna put on Twitch. do a Twitch podcast and like that to start kind of growing that channel. And me and Vieira Tron are gonna do another podcast because that seemed to interest people. We had about 20, 25 people, but that's where we start. And we'll just try to grow it from there. But shout out to everybody who watched that too. And she appreciated it, and so did I.
All right, cool. Uncompetitive. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. You said good show. I appreciate that. As far as your PC for Noobs podcast or something like that, I'd like to join that because I'd like to join one of those episodes, and share my experiences of how I am adjusting to life as a new PC gamer, that kind of thing. So I would definitely love to join that. So keep me in the loop on that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that'll be coming up here pretty soon. And probably something during the basketball tournament when you're in between games, I'll jump on and do that, put that on Twitch or something like that. So because that seems to be, everybody seems to be jumping on the Twitch. So and I've got a Twitch channel. I even was able to figure out how to set up a podcast, and I forgot I set it up because I was playing Assassin's Creed. So but yeah, so shout out to everybody that will be joining that. And like I said, that'll be a half hour to 45-minute podcast. It'll just be a chronological log on going from console to PC and where to go get your parts, how to shop, when to get your parts, and how it's different. It's just a different way to do things. That's all.
All right. I see you, JP Loco. He said PC Lincoln, PS Clay VR. I see you.
Yeah. There you go. And join me at 12:30 Eastern time. I'm going to do a podcast, half hour to 45 minutes, a Let's Talk podcast to just kind of knock a brew back. That's why I'm going to go to the store and get me a nice cold tall one, double deuce.
Okay, so what's going to be the basis of this podcast at 12:30?
The end of the console war, and just being done with it, and how it's going to change a lot of people's channels. And because a lot of people built their channels based on bullshit and fuck shit. Which is fine. Let me make that clear. It's a business. I mean, YouTube has a formula so you can get to 1,000, whatever, 2,000, 3,000 subs based on fuckery. And now it's over. So what are those channels going to do?
Yeah, the Section 8 council war is over. It's over for the welfare queens living off of the council board.
That's right, the welfare queens living off the console. Yeah, that's actually I may bring that up. Yeah, all you welfare queens.
Well, I'm not going to miss that. So, so when I get done with this podcast, I'm going to shoot to the store, grab some breakfast, and then get a little bit of gaming in on this PC, and then when you go live, I'll be stretched out, relaxing with ginger ale and mango juice, and checking out your podcast.
All righty, brother. Yeah, let me go ahead and head to my shuttle, and the guards are going to blindfold me, so I don't truly know where I'm truly at. But yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you having this podcast, brother, and. Yeah, everybody watch the Oscars tonight and root for your favorites. That's what I'll be doing tonight. I'll be leaving like I said, I won't be gaming Monday or Tuesday because those are just I take it off. I have a real life, but I'll jump back on Wednesday and I may have a new TV that I can unbox for everybody. So.
All right, that'll work. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close shop. I want to thank everybody for joining. My guards will give you all care packages as you are being shown back to your shuttles. And we will definitely see you next week on Live from Wakanda. And I definitely want to thank my guest, Craig Harris, for joining us. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure when he visits Wakanda. I really appreciate it. With that being said, believe me, people, I am working on trying to figure out how to stream from my gaming PC. Fatal Sharad is going to be in touch with me, and he said this is really quick. He said he can show me in 5 minutes and stuff like that. So look for me to do some gaming streams from my PC as soon as I get this in order, and we'll go from there. Once again, everybody, thanks for visiting Wakanda. I really appreciate it. Give it a like, and we will see you all next week. Have a safe flight home. We will catch you later.